You hungry? Hey, Ma! Can we get some meatloaf?
This has like a mom's basement kind of feel.
Mom! Mom! Mom!
Still some stuff in the basement.
What basement?
Mom's Basement with Joe Frank. That is quite possibly the dumbest thing I think you've ever said. And Corey Diab.
I can't believe I take part in this show.
Welcome into another episode of Mom's Basement on YouTube or iTunes, whichever platform you choose. We greatly appreciate that. Choose both, actually. Why not? Why not look at Corey and his great hairline and me?
It's receding.
It's receding.
It's receding.
It's receding.
It's receding, and I'm only 23.
It's a yikes. It's all those lives you save. Just stresses you out.
Nursing school stressed the fuck out of me for
True.
4 years,
Facts,
so
facts.
I'm not surprised.
All right, as usual, Joe, you know Corey. We're back. We're better than ever. Matt on the couch once again. He's living it up over there. Real comfortable. Snaps his fingers. Before we jump into anything today, we got Cubs, Bulls, Bears to get into. Lot to do.
White Sox.
Oh, I forgot about the White Sox. I feel like
Most people do.
I feel like ESPN right now. Oh, that was great. You see that tweet?
And Wheel of Fortune. But yes, I did see that tweet.
Yeah, Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, no one watches Wheel of Fortune anyway. It's all right.
My grandma watches Wheel of Fortune.
Well, that's probably the demographic. Does your grandma care about the White Sox?
She
Does
does.
your grandma care about the Cubs?
No.
Well, you stumped me saying that she cared about the White Sox anyway. Moving on, we are officially on Twitter. So if you guys want to go give us a follow, it's at Mom's Basement 18, run by Matt, still sitting on the couch.
Can we just point out that I like the other tag better?
All right, Matt had the first at is like Mama Meatloaf or something.
No,
No,
was
Mom, the meatloaf!
Mom the Meatloaf!
Mom the Meatloaf.
Literally
So-
what's in our intro.
So if you want Mom the Meatloaf six
No,
pack,
we're not doing that.
Let them know.
We're not doing
Let
that.
them know the meatloaf's ready.
So that's going to be the Twitter account for the podcast, and we still have our own individual Twitters
Yeah,
too.
I'm on Twitter at Joe_Frank01, Corey at Corey El Diablo, and of course, don't forget to follow our friends at the Crossover Report, at Crossover Report on all social media, and crossoverreport.com. Those guys kill it. Still waiting for them to get out a podcast because it's been a while since there was a 3 guys, 1 mic. I'm challenging them. I'm still challenging them. They never answer. It makes me sad, but maybe one day they will. All right, let's move into it here. Now, last week we gave kind of the reactions to the Darvish signing in general. I want to kind of take that, open it up, dive deeper, get into the real Cubs rotation. How does this affect Mike Montgomery, stuff like that, because he's been a guy who's been on my mind quite a bit the last few days.
That's not weird.
What?
Another dude on your mind?
I mean, I just think about players all the time. I don't have anything else to do. Slang, booze, do a podcast, think about the Cubs. What else do I got?
Not much.
Exactly, so it's not weird. It's life. All right, so I want to talk about Mike Montgomery specifically, talk about spring training. Pitchers and catchers officially reported on the 13th, 3 days ago. Position players report on the 18th. I believe that's Sunday, this Sunday. They'll report up there to Arizona, Mesa for the Cubs.
White Sox already have 45 people.
Yeah, the Cubs, I mean, some people are there. Rizzo obviously not there with the tragedy he's handling in his hometown, his high school.
Wow, I didn't know we were getting political.
Oh, we're not getting political. I'm just mentioning that he's there. So he's doing that. That's great. And then Baez is there. I saw Chris Bryant in the cage there, even though Chris Bryant's wife just had knee surgery. I was a little stumped to see him in the cage there. But I know Jessica Bryant is going to do okay because she has the best husband in the world by her side. Why are you speechless right now? That was a nice thing to say.
That was very cute. Now let's move on.
All right, let's move on. So, obviously the Cubs get Darvish, biggest piece they've added this offseason, but Mike Montgomery obviously can't be too excited about the Darvish deal. He went into camp thinking, I'm going to be the 5th guy in this rotation. He knows they're in the market for a starter, but he's like, if they would have signed somebody, they would have done it already. Now Darvish is here. What a killer that is to him.
That sucks for him.
He's not going anywhere either. 6 years, obviously 126. So Montgomery, his mindset has to be all screwed up. Now the Cubs have been clear to him that he's going to get starts in 2018, which is fine. Spot starts, sure. Injuries can happen, of course. Will the Cubs go to a 6-man rotation?
No.
I don't think so either.
No, I didn't even think that was in the realm of possibility. I don't think so.
I've heard some people talking about it. I was listening to the Cubs Talk podcast earlier today, and they had brought up the whole 6-man rotation idea. I think it's garbage.
Well, we're smarter than they are because Mike Montgomery's proven to be better as a bullpen piece anyway.
True.
Most pitchers tend to be better in the bullpen anyway.
Yes.
I mean, I don't see why you would take a really good left-handed pitcher and try to make a 6-man rotation, which fucks up all the other 5 starters in your rotation.
Yeah, I mean,
It doesn't work that way.
pitching in baseball is very routine-based. These guys get on a schedule. They like the schedule every 5th day. Lester's been doing this for a decade. Every 5th day. Darvish,
Yeah, part of his routine is not being able to throw to first base.
Okay, he's picked off some people the last few years. I mean, he's still effective for not being able to throw to first
They
base.
take like 30 feet leads. That's their fault.
for not being able to throw very well or efficiently to first base.
Or at all.
Why aren't more people taking advantage of that? I mean, they literally he could still win games without being able to throw to first base. It's wild.
He's just had the yips for 10 years now.
It's cool. He's got world championships. Yips that. Yips.
I was
that.
going to say something really bad, but we can continue.
Yeah. Anyways, so the thing for me with Montgomery, this is tough. I mean, the hardest he has the hardest role in baseball. The uncertainty of being, I'm a stretch guy out of the bullpen, or am I a setup guy, or am I starting tomorrow? Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That is hard to do when pitching. A big thing about pitching is mindset. You want to know when you're starting, if you're starting, and in his case, he's never going to know.
I mean, tough. I mean,
You don't sympathize at all.
I really
You don't understand the toll it can take on somebody mentally.
I mean, I get it, but at the same time, he wasn't going to be successful as a starter anyway. I don't see. He could want something all that he wants, but I mean, the position he's in puts him in the bullpen. It puts him as a spot starter, and you're a professional. You got to go out there and just deal with it.
The biggest part for me in this is last year he played the same role, right? Out of the bullpen some days. Lester was hurt. You got to start today. Hendricks went down. You got to start today. You got to go back to the bullpen. Back and forth. And it really wore him down. I mean, come playoff time, he was just gassed, and he was bad in the playoffs. So,
well, maybe that's his contribution to the team. I mean, I don't know how much Joe Madden trusts him. Come playoff time.
He got the final out of the World Series.
Well, yeah,
I mean, he has some trust.
I don't pay attention to the Cubs individual.
Yeah,
routes,
I mean,
I mean, maybe that's just the role he serves on this team. I mean, maybe he's more. I don't know. He's already done this once, so maybe he'll know how to conserve himself a little bit better. I mean, it is the randomness of a 162 game season, but it's just he's a professional. He's got to get used to it. It's just how it's got to be.
And I think earlier in the offseason he said he wants to start or he wants to go somewhere that he can. Now he's kind of backtracking.
Well, that's not how that works. You're under contract.
He's kind of backtracking that, saying, I want to be here. This is the team I want to be on. So the effect that winning can have on somebody's mindset, obviously playing a part there. And, Theo said you're going to get some starts. Obviously he's going to get starts. I mean, there could be an injury. Anything can happen.
How much longer does he have on his contract?
I am not sure.
I'll look it up.
But, I mean, that trade, you want to look back at that trade where they get Mike Montgomery
For
in 16.
fucking Dan Vogelbach.
Who
looks like Kyle Schwarber's illegitimate son, by the way.
Obviously, Vogelbach, first baseman in the Cubs system, he's got nowhere to go because Anthony Rizzo is going to be there for his entire career. Put a goddamn C on
we're
his
not doing
chest.
that.
Just saying. So Vogelbach for Montgomery turned out to be another fleece from Theo. Montgomery turned into a great pitcher for the Cubs. Hopefully he has another good year this year. Mainly out of the bullpen, it's going to be as that lefty specialist, a guy who can go 3 innings for you out of the pen, give you maybe 4 or 5 innings on a bad day. Corey's looking at his contract right
Mike
now.
Montgomery's not a free agent until 2022.
Arbitration is a bitch.
That's...
So has he hit year 1 of arbitration yet, or no?
No, his first year of arbitration is 2019. 2020 and 2021 are his 3 years of arb, so...
Players hate arbitration. I mean, it's just a fact. Marcus Stroman went to Twitter about it. You were all over him for that. He lost
he's
his
a
arbitration.
Bitch.
Okay, no reason to call the best pitcher in the American League a bitch.
Well, okay, you act like Chris Sale doesn't exist.
I act like first half Chris Sale exists, and the second half he's Casper the Ghost. He's gone, disappears.
You mean like for September? That's less than the second half.
And the playoffs.
That's still less than the
Is he
second
yikes?
half.
I'm just saying. Anyways,
It's okay, I got Joanna, I don't care anymore.
now the day is the day of a 200 inning starter in baseball gone.
I mean,
More teams are stacking their bullpens. More guys are liking the philosophy of quote unquote bullpenning.
I don't want to say that. Geez, that's a good question, because you still have guys like Max Scherzer who are just like absolute fucking
You can
horses.
pencil him in for 200
Absolutely, and I don't think it's dead. Do I think it's dying? I would think yeah. I think the era of being a workhorse is kind of going away, because we were just talking about him, but Chris Sale throws a ton of innings from April to August, and then come September in playoff time, he's burnt out because he throws 97 miles an hour with every fastball. He could clock it up to over 100, and he's got that deadly slider. So I would say until pitchers kind of advance, or baseball people advance metrically to where they can see how to effectively use these pitchers while still squeezing the 190, 200, 210 innings out of these players, while promoting health and wellness off the diamond. I think that we are going to see a decline in it, because pitching scouting is getting better than ever. And you look at a guy coming out of a draft right now, and you're like, yeah, he's probably going to be a reliever, but he could be like a damn good 2-inning reliever. You see that with guys like maybe even Carson Fulmer. We'll see what his future holds. But these guys who have really high effort deliveries, who would be good in really short stints, and that getting 2 innings out of a guy like that, and then getting your closer in, that's 3 innings right there. You're cutting a guy down to 6 innings as a starter.
Yeah, as much as I hate to say it, like, because I love workhorses. Workhorses are like, I don't know. I just love seeing a guy who can go out every 5th day, and you could go 6, 7, 8 innings easy. And I think it's really crap that it's not even the player's fault. I'm like, this is not the pitcher's fault, because it's managers. It's literally guys going, oh, well, there's a lefty coming up. I got to bring in a specialist. I got to bring in a guy to the bullpen, face one hitter, that. I think a lot of times they overthink it. Where if it's me and I'm managing a game, and let's say I have Max Scherzer, but I got a guy who in his career, let's just say somebody crushes Max Scherzer, he's 8 for 10 with 2 home runs. I got 2 guys on, I got 2 guys out. Are you going to make the switch? Me, I got an ace. I got a guy. I believe in Max Scherzer more than I believe in any other pitcher on my team.
Okay, but are you doing that during the regular season, or are you doing that during the playoffs?
I guess it would depend on the situation, but regular season 100%. Playoffs, I would say 9 out of 10 times I'm going to stick with my horse.
Yikes! I would disagree with you.
You ride or die with your horse.
In a game where everything means where one swing of the bat can change everything in the playoffs, I would tend to disagree with you there. And I think teams like the Red Sox, who have a guy like Chris Sale who does get worn down, need to be a little more efficient with him. If your team is up 6-0 in a game in May, don't send him out there for 8 innings to throw 100 plus pitches. I mean, it's really just not necessary. You can have a guy come in for mop-up time and give up, 2 runs or something like that, and you still win the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it is very situational. I will disagree with you, though, come playoff time.
I hate the situational thing. It goes, well, I get why they do it, right? But I just hate to see the guys who really work at it, like Scherzer puts in so much work. Like guys like that.
Scherzer's a Hall of Famer.
An animal. Absolute animal. And just to see like that kind of crap come in there and really block what these guys can do. They're special players. Especially like pitch.
But see, now we have these advanced metrics that show us they're special in ways that you don't typically see from like old school baseball. Like I showed you I didn't show you. I told you about the statistic the other day that Clayton Kershaw's like his like worst season, he was still 51% better than the average pitcher in the league based on like OPS against him or something like that. OPS plus against him.
Kershaw's the most dominant pitcher we've seen in our life.
But you can use those metrics to see, and you can use your eyes too to see how good a pitcher is. You don't need to look at a stat sheet and see, wow, this guy threw 230 innings this year. Because throwing that many innings and then trying to have success in the playoffs impacts you for the next season too. It just doesn't make sense to keep the 200-inning pitcher alive if it's something where they're not completely in the zone.
And you can't say that it's not dying, because the guys who are throwing 200 innings are declining quickly. I mean, I would say there's probably only a handful of guys that did it last year, but it just sucks to see for me personally.
But like even if you look at like the most dominant pitchers in baseball, you see guys like Corey Kluber, he gets hurt. You see,
Kershaw always goes down.
Kershaw gets hurt. I mean, I don't know what kind of injuries if Scherzer's faced any. If he's just a fucking dog.
He's had some like blister issues, like little things, nothing that's going to affect.
But like Corey Kluber came back and won the Cy Young last year in the American League, but he missed a good amount of time. You don't need 200 innings to establish yourself as the best pitcher in the league.
Correct. All right, now let's move into the Cubs roster here. Obviously, spring training. Who's going to make the team? Who's not? This team is pretty much set. I mean, maybe people argue Peter Borges should be on there as like their 5th outfielder. I mean, I don't care. I don't see that.
Last time this year, he was in the White Sox training camp. They traded him to Tampa for something.
For me, there's really like one battle here. It's like the backup catcher spot. Victor Caratini, who came up last year when the whole Miguel Montero nonsense went down. Caratini is the guy they called up because he was hitting like 350 in AAA.
And then you have the Jimenez guy, right?
And yeah, Chris Jimenez, who was Darvish's quote-unquote personal catcher Texas.
We've seen the Cubs be okay with personal catchers.
Yeah,
before.
that's going to make Jimenez make the team, whether or not he really deserves it. I mean, but Yu Darvish came into camp and said he was more excited to work with Wilson Contreras than he was with Jimenez. So, I mean, why wouldn't you be?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I mean, you're not going to keep your personal catcher isn't going to have a job forever just because he's your personal catcher.
Right, and
you got to learn
think-
other people.
I think ultimately Caratini would be the better player. I mean, he was up last year. It's not like he's going to be new to anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got a better bat than Jimenez. So, I think Jimenez makes the team. That's really the only fight, quote unquote, for the Cubs, for a roster spot with the Cubs there. What about the White Sox?
All right, so moving on to the White Sox, we got Avisail Garcia wins his arbitration hearing. He got $6.7 million from the White Sox. He will be the opening day starting right fielder. Going forward, what's his future with the team? If he replicates last year, you're faced with an interesting decision come trade deadline because a team who is in contention for the playoffs could really use an outfielder who hits .330 for some reason. I don't know how he did that, but
Yeah, can we talk about how he's going to regress? Like,
oh yeah, I think
he's going to regress to.
I think he's
260?
going. I don't know. Well, he's been a 250, 260 hitter his entire career. I think he's improved from that. I mean, you can't just take out 1/3 of a player's career because he's had like 3 full seasons in the big leagues. You can't just take out a .330 season like that. I mean, he has the metrics that show like his BABIP's really high, but he has a really high exit velocity. He's fast for his size. So if he hits a ball hard on the ground to a place where somebody's not, even if they glove it, he could still beat it out to first, and that's an increase in his batting average. He doesn't have a lot of power. I don't believe in the people who project him to have higher power just the way he hits the baseball. He hits it more to dead center. You're not going to get a lot of home runs that way. But if he's hitting 300, 310 come the trade deadline, some team could use that. But you have to look at it in another way for the White Sox too, is do you trade away a guy who you could probably extend for not very much money just because you stuck with him all this time and he wants to be here? Do you extend him for the contention window? Because he is only 26 years old. I think, and I was talking about it with some other people today, it really depends on what the trio of these third outfielder guys that the White Sox have in the minors besides Eloy and Luis Robert, how they're doing. If they're, taking steps towards being productive, starting outfielders in the big leagues, I think you can afford to trade Avi. But if they're all struggling, why not sit down with him and negotiate an extension and have him be here for the window?
I think there's no question I would flip this guy. I would have already done it, actually.
I mean, I would have too, but I don't know if you're looking at it as another team who would be getting him. You see, a guy hit .330, but you see a guy who, again, career high in home runs is 18.
He's awful
as
on defense.
as a right fielder. He improved last year. He was more about average to slightly. He was slightly above average. No, bad outfielders are in left field for the Chicago Cubs. Okay, we don't need to talk about that. But he does scare me in a way just because he seems like he's hitting it where they aren't. But who's to say he can't keep it up? He did it for 162 games. If he does it again, I'm going to have to start, backing down on my Avi hate a little bit because it doesn't make sense, but it's working.
Yeah, I would have taken advantage of the Cardinals after Stanton before Ozuna went there. I'd have been going, we got to get a deal
Ozuna's
done.
a better player.
Well, obviously, he's a way better player. But I'm saying
And
trying
the
to take advantage.
The Marlins were giving him away for nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm saying they just lost Stanton. They probably hadn't touched on Ozuna yet. Mm-hmm. Okay, here's Avi. Give me Carson Kelly. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see about that. A team's going to lose an outfielder. I was talking about it today, too. Cleveland probably is going to lose an outfielder because they have Michael Brantley.
Michael Brantley's not playing a full season.
He's never staying healthy. I wouldn't. You can trade Avi to somebody, or if you could extend him. It's really Rick Hahn's call at this point. Other than that, the White Sox brought in Dave Duncan, former Cardinals pitching coach. Dave Duncan, one of the best pitching minds in the game. The White Sox are just absolutely loaded with minor league pitching prospects who are looking to be, part of the next rotation. They probably go 12 deep in the minors. It's only going to help. It's only going to help.
He was there with La Russa in Oakland, I believe.
And in Chicago.
And, I was going to say, so he's been with La Russa for a while, so really smart hire. I mean, put him with Don Cooper. All these guys are coming up sooner.
They probably have 2 of the 10 best pitching minds in baseball right now on their team, and it's really good for guys like Lucas Giolito, Reynaldo Lopez, even Carson Fulmer, and then especially when you get Kopech coming up here later this year. And on a minor note, Hector Santiago, former White Sox who was traded for outfielder Adam Eaton, who is now in Washington. Santiago signed a 1-year minor league deal with the White Sox, and he'd probably be a sleeper pick to crack the rotation this year if James Shields keeps looking like dog shit. But we'll see.
Listen, James Shields has the nickname Big Game James for a reason. And the one big game the White Sox play this year on opening day has his name written
God, I
all
hope not.
over it.
Nah, I'm hoping they give it to Giolito, to be honest with you.
All right, let's move to the NBA. Officially the All-Star break, not the halfway point in the season. I don't like the correlation. I'll put the quotes around it because they've literally played 57 of 82 games. That's not half. Even I can do that math. And
I'm proud of you.
That's not half. That's more than half. Bulls enter the break at 20-37.
Not bad enough.
Yeah, they need to be worse, but I mean, you have to like what you see. This kind of first year, this new roster with Levine, Markin, and Dunn. So, I mean,
that's great. They'll pick 9 and they'll pick 13 and they'll sign Zach Levine to $100 million and draft 2 role players.
And sign DeMarcus Cousins to a max deal.
Oh, with his shattered
Listen,
ankle.
You can come back from an Achilles injury.
Well, whatever he has.
We can get to free agency when free agency arises, but I'm just saying, the Bulls, you get to like what you see. Zach Levine has looked so much better. We were hyping him up on, I think, 2 podcasts ago, like, Levine, he's a god, he's doing everything right, and then he just didn't make a shot for like a week. We came back, we're like, oh boy, here come the growing pains, and then the week after that, we were like, yo, he's back. So it's kind of been up and down with Levine, but he's looking really solid. He just signed a deal with Finish Line today. Did you see that?
I did not.
A 2-year deal with Finish Line.
What the fuck is Finish Line?
It's a store.
It's great.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's dad shoes. Finish Line, dad shoes?
Yeah, they do like a lot of Reebok. And
that's what I thought, like New Balance and stuff.
New Balance,
I'll
like
shop
that.
there.
Yeah, you will shop there.
It's like essentially, from what I know of it, it's like, I don't want to say like a lower end Foot Locker, but like it's not quite Foot Locker.
Finish Line will never sponsor this podcast.
Hell, they might. I mean,
Matt just called them low end.
I said not. I said not quite.
Yo, hit us up, Finish Line.
Anywho,
Corey needs some new Balances to go with his
do.
new CRV.
Sick.
#dad. Anyway, so I like what I see from the roster. Chris Dunn just came back from the concussion, played in the Rising Star game tonight. So did Laurie, who's going to go down, not halfway, but at the break as a Rookie of the Year candidate, which will correlate to what we're going to talk about next.
Laurie had 16 points tonight.
Laurie, in the
Laurie
game,
had
it was like
16.
155 to 134. These games don't have any defense.
No.
I did see Donovan Mitchell, though. Like, steals the ball, runs the fast break. He's got a guy, like, next to him who's not guarding him, but he just chucks it up and just full extension off the glass, just slams it home. That kid's a god on offense.
He's great. He's really good. And again, nobody plays defense, so.
Utah's not missing Gordon Hayward. Don't at me. They've won 11 in a row.
Boston's missing Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, they sure are, because without Brad Stevens, they're an 8 seed.
Yikes.
Yeah, so those 3 guys have to make you excited about the Bulls' future, and really, that's all we got to talk about with the Bulls. They just need to lose more, plain and simple, lose more games. Let Fred Hoiberg make more calls so they can lose more games, period.
Let Chris Dunn get his rest.
Yeah, let him rest that concussion up a little bit more. And maybe Cameron Payne can somehow come back from the surgery he had. He can run point better than anybody.
You always see that article that Crossover Report tweets out too. That they say it was like the title of the article is "Bulls knew after second practice that Cameron Payne was not an NBA player."
Wow.
like just so bad. That
What
was
do you
such
do?
a
You're like,
joke.
well, we already traded for him. We got to put him in the rotation. That's wild. Anyways, what we're going to do now, Mom's Basement's going to give out their awards at the All-Star break here. We're going to do MVP, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, and the Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know who Corey picked, but I sure as hell know who I picked.
Oh wait, we were supposed to do Coach of the Year. I did Comeback Player of the Year. That's a huge yikes.
I mean, you could do that. That's cool.
Sick. I'll do that.
All right, MVP isn't even a question, baby. The one, the only, the GOAT, LeBron James. He's the MVP. He's the most valuable player in basketball. Always will be, always has been until he is retired. Period.
So can I be the contrarian then?
You can list who you picked as MVP.
Well, I mean, it's LeBron's league. I'm saying that.
I like that.
Yeah.
If you're going to
because
say somebody that doesn't play defense, I'm going to roast you.
I got to be the contrarian. I have to be a contrarian though, because
Okay,
I'm not,
well-
what are we going to do? Sit here and agree with each other? That's got to be LeBron James.
Well, who are you going to say?
James Harden.
Yeah, he doesn't play defense. That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
He's averaging 31.3 points.
He might as well sit in a recliner on defense because, I mean, he'd be better off.
I mean, you're not wrong.
No, I like the Rockets. I mean, I think the Rockets are going to win the West.
I think you're wrong, but
I think they're going to win the West. I think they're going to beat Golden State in 7 games. But yeah, James Harden obviously is going to get votes. The guy puts up offensive numbers like he's inhuman. He's inhuman with the offensive numbers. Yeah.
that's a big yikes.
Yeah, no, it was just really loud.
Yeah.
Anyways,
LeBron's the best player in the league. We get it.
Yeah, I just don't think James Harden is most valuable because
if LeBron goes down, that team is nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is what value is. I mean, sure, if James Harden went down, the Rockets wouldn't be as good either. But LeBron's the best player in the league.
Absolutely. So. Let's do Rookie of the Year. This one's real easy.
Mm-hmm.
Donovan Mitchell. I just talked about him. Talking about him.
What?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh.
I know who you're going to say.
Who am I going to say?
You're going to say Ben Simmons.
I am going to say Ben Simmons.
Yeah, and he's probably going to win.
I did say Ben Simmons.
Donovan Mitchell's averaging 21 a game. Utah is winning like crazy right now. Rudy Gobert is hurt. No one is picking Utah to win any games at the beginning of the year. They just lost their best player. And in comes Donovan Mitchell. Dude's straight up balling right now. I think he deserves Rookie of the Year, at least right now, as we sit at the All-Star break.
Well, then I'll combine these two into one then, because you didn't do a comeback player of the year, did you not?
I did not. I did Coach
Yeah,
of the Year.
I did Ben Simmons as both Rookie of the Year and then as comeback player of the year, because Ben Simmons was obviously...
Spent his whole last season hurt.
Yeah. So I think Ben Simmons is able to win both. I mean, he should have been an All-Star this year, first of all.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't understand why he's not an All-Star, but... Regardless, he's averaging 16.4 a game, 7.8 rebounds, and 7.3 assists. That dude is like triple-double machine.
Yeah, and the thing that I hate about like people are roasting Ben Simmons. Oh, he went to LSU. Well, that's where he was comfortable. I actually watched it. They did a documentary on this whole Ben Simmons story. It was really, really good. I watched it on like Showtime, one of those movie channels, where they follow him because he's from Australia. I don't know if you noticed that he played on the world team. Australia. Yeah. Okay. I'm just saying. But he's from Australia, so coming over here, I think he moved to Florida in high school away from his family, and then I think it was like an uncle or a family friend as an assistant coach at LSU. He was just comfortable there.
Yeah.
Like, that's perfectly fine. Not every person in the world has to commit to goddamn Kentucky or Duke.
Or North Carolina.
Oh my God.
Fuck all that bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
No.
Duke next year has the top 3 recruits in the nation going there.
Well,
Zion Williamson included. So, yeah, he'll
be fun to talk about. But
yeah.
no, Ben Simmons is absolutely a monster, because it's crazy because you see those numbers and you expect it to be out of a point guard.
Right.
But the dude is 6'10".
If he improves his shot,
yeah,
he's going to average 25 points a game, 8 boards, 8 assists. Like
his field goal percentage right now is 52.7.
Yeah, he just got a weird motion. You see him shoot the ball,
well,
it's weird.
I feel like a lot of these big guys do, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, he's just a massive... He's a point guard in a damn near 7-footer's body.
Yeah, I mean, he's a freak.
Yeah,
he's not the Greek freak.
No, he's not the Greek
Aussie freak.
But he would be my Rookie of the Year and the comeback player of the year.
All right, I'm going to do my Coach of the Year. This one kind of stands out to me because nobody picked Toronto to be the 1 seed in the East at this point in the season because Boston's there, Cavs are there, but Dwayne Casey has done a phenomenal job, and this is obviously Toronto. They've always been up there in the East because they've got an extremely talented backcourt. DeRozan and Kyle Lowry are both there, but the coaching job he has done with some young players and some pieces that nobody ever talks about, maybe because they're in Toronto, but they're sitting atop the East. Very, very well, very good job done by Dwayne Casey. I think he's, at this point, honestly, a lock for Coach of the Year.
Yeah, LeBron James would probably finish second in terms of Coach of the Year.
Listen, LeBron's the best player, coach, and GM.
You cannot tell me he's the best GM. He makes awful player personnel decisions.
We'll see. We'll see how it plays out this year. Jordan Clarkson, GOAT.
He got rid of Kyrie.
I'm kidding. Yeah, I know. Kyrie wanted to leave, so it was kind of like, you weren't going to stop it.
A contract would have stopped Kyrie from leaving.
Right, but...
Anywho.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move on. Defensive Player of the Year, Corey, who you got?
You know what? It's really hard for me to look at defensive metrics and stuff like that, but I did pick Al Horford.
So this is the one that we have the same.
Okay, we
both
have Al Horford, yeah, because... Celtics got one of the best defenses, if not the best defense.
Statistically, they're the best
in the NBA. I think metric-wise, yeah, they are. And, he's kind of he's at the center of it.
He's the glue. He's the glue in the middle on the best defense in the league.
Usually if you see a team that is really good defensively, they have that big guy in the middle, and Al Horford's that guy.
Solid. And Brad Stevens gets the most out of his players. He contributes to that. But Al Horford, Always been good on defense. He's always been under the radar because he played in Atlanta. People think he's overpaid because he got $100 million to go to Boston. Listen to the NBA. We can talk all day about that.
He's not just defensive either.
Right, he scores.
He scores, and he shoots actually 43%.
He's improved his shot. He could shoot mid-range and three-pointers now. Really good asset for Boston, especially after
that defense isn't nearly as good without him in it.
Absolutely, 100% agree. All right, let us know who you think should win these awards on Twitter at MomsBasement18. Let us know what you guys thought of our picks. If you want
That's what the text was about.
If you want to roast us, I was going to do it anyway. Let's be real.
Okay.
We got a Twitter now. You got to plug that shit. MomsBasement18 on Twitter. Let Matt know what you thought too. Matt on Twitter at NotMattFromPie.
Yep.
Is that still your at?
Yeah.
Sick. I just got that off the top of my head. All right, we're going to move now. A little bit of NFL to do here.
I don't even know what's happening anymore.
A little bit of NFL. It's been a while since we talked football, I think. It's been a few weeks since we talked football.
Well, we try, but there's not much going on right now.
Yeah, and really, we're just going to look at who are the Bears free agents right now? Who do we think they should extend?
We got the Combine coming up. We got free agency coming up. The draft right after.
So let's talk about the cornerbacks here for the Bears. Prince Amukamara and Kyle Fuller. Both free agents.
Right, I'm just going to shut this down real quick because Matt keeps texting. Gronk is not going anywhere, especially the WWE. Now shut your hole.
You never know. No.
All I just wanted to say is because the fact that it's being reported by
credible sources, Sports Illustrated.
And I will say, and I said I will not make this into a WWE thing, but he did appear last year at WrestleMania.
This is my I don't believe you face.
So, I mean, he has connections with it, and the paycheck Ronda Rousey is getting from them, that might have opened his eyes like, you know what? The NFL, I've done my time there. I want to do something different.
We're done with this.
If it comes to fruition, we will talk about it.
Okay.
And
we might have you on. Yeah.
You
so you can talk WWE because you think it's a real sport. Now.
All right, moving back to the Bears and the free agent cornerbacks, they have Prince Amukamara and Kyle Fuller, who just had the absolute best year of his career, not even close.
Contract year, baby. That's how it works.
And he's going to look to get paid this offseason. Listen, they need to bring back Kyle Fuller.
Yeah, so Jason Lockhanfora, that little nerd, he reported today that the Bears will not be signing Kyle Fuller to a long-term deal. He will be allowed to hit free agency, and he will receive a lucrative contract with multiple teams interested. So that tells me that the Bears will be re-signing Kyle Fuller next week. Because Jason Lockhanfora is a fucking moron. All right, I don't know where he pulls his sources from, but I think he needs to be like bent over looking in a mirror to find where they're at.
Wow.
No, was that bad?
No, just a wow reaction out of me.
But logically speaking, if you're Ryan Pace, you can't let a young piece leave your team that you guys drafted. He didn't draft him, but he is a young piece who's just leaving his first contract. You already did that once with Alshon.
Alshon just came back to haunt you big time.
Alshon did that catch in the Super Bowl. I'm going to keep playing it over in my head. But
Titanic music?
Oh, God. Anywho, Kyle Fuller, young piece at a position of need. The Bears do need corners. It would make sense to lock up Kyle Fuller. They have the cap space. I think they're going to do it. I'm not going to doubt that he won't have interest from other teams. I do think that if necessary, they'll put a tag on him. But yeah, Kyle Fuller needs to be here.
That's the ultimate leverage. If necessary, put a tag on him.
Absolutely.
Period. Just keep him around. You can't afford to lose him. You can't afford to keep letting these talented guys walk. Alshon, the biggest example. I mean, come on.
I mean, Alshon didn't want to be here.
Yeah, I still would have kept him. I mean, we talked about this. We would have kept him.
I would have tagged him. I wouldn't have liked the money you tagged him at, but you need to tag these guys. You need to. It doesn't matter what they feel, what they want. You know, unfortunately, it's just a business, and you tag these guys. You don't let them go anywhere unless a team is willing to give you 2 first-round picks or whatever it is to get the guy.
Right. All right. Now, Prince Amukamara had 1 year with the Bears. What do you think about Prince Amukamara moving into free agency?
Unspectacular.
Yeah.
I mean, if they brought him back, I feel like Kyle Fuller got picked on a lot more than Prince Amukamara did. Prince Amukamara, former first-round pick, he was one of those guys who was almost like even coming out of college, you didn't know too much about him. I think he went to Nebraska because they never threw at him. He had low interception numbers in college because they never threw at him. So, he would just be like I think he would be average, solid guy, unspectacular on the other side, but you can definitely get an upgrade there, and I would look to see, what corners are in free agency, and you could always bring him back on another 1-year deal or something.
I'd say if you're signing him for more than a year, you're not doing it. Do not do this.
I don't think they're locked. I don't think they look at him as like, yeah, this guy needs to be part of our defense.
I would do the same thing they did this year. If either it's him on a 1-year deal, like he got $7 million, or it's somebody else. Like find somebody else. I mean, similar player, if not better.
If you lose Prince Amukamara, you're not hurting because of it.
Absolutely. All right, now a couple skilled players on offense. One's not coming back. Zach Miller, the tight end.
I don't know what's going to happen.
He's never playing football again after the knee injury. Yikes.
He almost lost his fucking leg.
Absolutely. Almost got it amputated, so he's not coming back.
Next one I like.
Dontrell Inman. Very intriguing name.
I think Ryan Pace is very inclined to lock him up because
they gave up nothing to get him, essentially.
I mean, didn't they trade a 7th round pick, or was
they
it
got
conditional?
It back. They got it back.
Oh, it's conditional, okay.
Yeah.
But Ryan Pace thought enough of the guy to trade at least some sort of form of a draft pick to get him. Now, it doesn't matter that he got him back. He still thought about trading a draft pick.
Yeah.
And, you know what, he was Trubisky's best receiver. Now, that's not saying much. That's saying you're like the tallest midget. But at the same time...
Me.
Yeah. Dontrell Inman would be, you know, he could serve some purpose as like a 3 or a 4 on a receiver on the offense. You're not going to make Trubisky better by getting rid of targets he's shown to throw to. So I think they would bring him back.
And obviously the most important free agent the Bears have, Cairo Santos and Pat O'Donnell.
Yikes.
I'm just kidding. We're not going to talk about kickers here. One more name, Corey, we want to talk about. Who do you want to pick here?
Kendall Wright, probably.
Kendall Wright. All right, the wide receiver, Kendall Wright. Bears brought him in. He made $2 million last year, 28 years old. What do you look for from Kendall Wright?
I mean, with Kendall Wright, I think it's unfortunate for him. He was like 2 catches short of a workout bonus or a contract incentive bonus, but he dropped 2 balls in the final finale, so that's on him.
That's
Fuck
on him, yep.
But, no, again, I think it's just a body you bring in. You know, if he's looking for something more than a year, don't do it. I mean... I'm just not overly impressed with Kendall Wright, but I do think he's a body. I think he's somebody that Mitch Trubisky trusts, but you need to bring in more talent level guys who are going to be locked up long term, and these guys are just, you know, sort of here to, you know, fill out a certain role.
Right. He's basically, you know, in a perfect world like a 4th, 5th best receiver.
Yeah,
like
something
he's
like
nothing
that.
more than that.
I would give him like a 4. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, now let's do some inbox questions.
Sure, let's do that. So, first inbox question, we have thoughts on Zach LaVine so far this year. We talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's been up and down. We've talked about this a lot. Zach LaVine's been a focal point for us, but, you know, he started off great, then he couldn't hit a shot to save his life, and now he's kind of back to playing Zach LaVine basketball. I think the growing pains are past him. I think he's going to be a very, very good player this year, moving into next year being an elite player in the league. Mm-hmm. I think, you know, looking at what you traded to get him, you obviously gave up Jimmy Butler, who's one of the best in the league, but I think Zach LaVine has a higher ceiling. I think he's going to achieve that ceiling going into next year with a little bit more around him, hopefully a new head coach, but I love Zach LaVine.
Hopefully a new head coach.
Yeah, I love watching Zach LaVine play. The athleticism is insane. He just needs to be, you know, a little more careful with shot. Like, don't take so much. Don't be a volume shooter.
Don't get 30 points and then shoot, you know, fucking 17 for 40 from the field or something.
I love watching Zach LaVine.
Don't do that. But next question, and I agree with you. I mean, Zach LaVine, I think, is going to be... I don't know if I would give him elite status yet. He's got to show me a little more. He's ridiculously athletic, but I think on a championship team he could be, you know, a solid 2. We'll see what that ceiling gets to. Question for me about the White Sox. Expectations for Nicky Delmonico next year. Let me pull up his stats real quick.
Regression.
Yeah, a little bit. Nicky Delmonico, you guys know his backstory with drug addiction and whatnot.
Adderall and Red Bull. Hey, Nicky, stay off the Adderall.
Anywho, so Nicky Delmonico last year, small sample size, 141 at-bats. I can't get the plate appearances right now for some reason. Had a 373 on-base percentage, which is really fucking good. 482 slugging for a total OPS of 856, which would make him an above-average starter in the league if that was extrapolated over an entire season. Again, small sample size, 141 at-bats, so that tells me essentially I need to see more. I need to see how these pitchers adjust to him and if he can adjust back. If he can adjust to what they're doing to him, then there's no reason why he can't be, you know, this guy his entire career, because he's got a really good batting eye. But as far as do I pencil him in as like on the White Sox roster in the future, I would say no right now. Maybe as a DH, but beyond that, I don't really anticipate it.
He was a first-round pick, correct?
Yeah, for Baltimore.
So he's got talent.
Yeah, he has talent. And this season he's going to be 25 years old. It looks like he's 25.
Obviously, had to take the break for all the
Yeah,
for
the drug issues, absolutely. But he's bounced back from it. He's sort of a White Sox fan favorite right now. I've noticed that at Sox Fest and whatnot, they're really marketing him pretty well on their social media accounts. So, I'm rooting for him. I don't think that, an 856 OPS is, anything that he can sustain this year until he, shows that he can. Baseball Reference right now has him projected for a 263 average, 351 on base percentage, and a 474 slugging, which equates to an 825 OPS, which is still a really fucking good player. So we'll see what he can do, but I would expect a little regression. The next question is for you. Assuming you think it matters, because we've heard you say that you don't think it matters, but who's going to be the Cubs leadoff man this year?
Yeah, I don't think it matters. I mean, we talked about it a lot last year. They need a leadoff guy, They ultimately scored the second most runs in the league. So does it really matter? It doesn't appear so, but if I'm picking somebody, there's one guy. Albert Elmore.
Oh.
Come on, man. Take that shit out of here, boy.
All right.
No, it's Albert Elmore Jr. I've said this before. He's got to be the everyday center fielder, and he's got to be hitting number one in that lineup.
You want to know what's crazy? If they sign Bryce Harper, Elmore is the odd guy out.
Well, if they sign Harper, hopefully Jason Hayward is nowhere near the north side of Chicago.
Oh, yeah, because he's opting out of that deal, right?
You never know, man. All right, back to what I was talking about. Almora is the guy. He's the guy that needs to hit leadoff.
I don't understand why he hasn't been already. He's honest to God. I think he is. I got to think about it, but I think he's probably my favorite everyday regular for the Cubs. He should be an everyday regular for the Cubs. I think he's got one of the higher ceilings next to guys like Rizzo, Bryant, and Contreras. I don't understand why they don't play him. Yeah. He's a great defender.
He's amazing.
He's got a good pop. He makes contact. He's a smart baseball player.
He's smooth.
I
He's
don't
so
get
smooth.
it.
And the thing that they say is he can't hit righties. He can't hit righties. Well,
Kyle Schwarber can't fucking hit anybody.
Exactly. He smokes lefties. Almora absolutely smokes lefties. And they don't really give him the chance to hit righties. Like, give this guy a chance to play every single day. Play your best 9 guys every single day.
Kyle Schwarber drops balls in left field, kicks them for triples, doesn't hit lefties. He gets more playing time than Albert Almora. Jason Hayward is god awful at the plate. He still gets more plate appearances than
Hopefully
Albert
that
Almora.
all changes this year. Almora hitting leadoff every single day for the Cubs.
He should. He absolutely should. And then now it's just kind of looking forward to April. If the Bears had to stay at 8th overall in the draft, who would you take for them?
Tremaine Edmonds. I think we're the same on this.
Yeah, Tremaine Edmonds is one of the guys because he's now I don't want to step over your toes with this. 19-year-old linebacker from Virginia Tech. Just really, let me get his.
He's rising up boards very quickly.
Yeah, he is because he's an athletic freak. But you have to, make sure he can actually play the damn game. But he had 102 tackles last year. 14 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles. So he can get to the ball. He can get the ball out, and 5.5 sacks. Now he's not much of a pass rusher. He's probably going to be an inside linebacker, but he's so fucking young. And when you draft these guys, you're not drafting them for what they are now. You're projecting. So with an athlete like that, you can do anything with him.
And it's kind of like he has the same knock on him that Leonard Floyd had when they picked Leonard Floyd. Leonard Floyd needed to add size. Mm-hmm. This guy needs to add size. I mean, Vatek has him at 6'5", 250. Who knows what that means?
I think he's less than that.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be less than that, 100%.
He could even be taller than that for all the fuck we know.
Yeah,
but,
they just...
And then
you might as well throw a dart at the height on a board and just... All right, he's 6'8", guys, and it's me. It's me getting...
And then the only other guy... Again, Quentin Nelson is the best player in this draft, the guard from Notre Dame. He's an absolute fucking mauler.
That'd be a great fit.
It wouldn't be a sexy pick or anything like that because it's a fucking guard, but at the same time, if you're trying to protect your franchise quarterback and get Jordan Howard to maybe win a rushing title, Quentin Nelson is as close to a can't-miss player in this draft as any of them are.
Not to mention you just brought in his old offensive line coach.
Oh, yes.
Anyways.
So if he's there at 8, that offensive line coach, Heinz Stand or whatever.
He is screaming in the ear of Ryan Pace, listen, take him.
Do you want a Pro Bowler for the next 10 fucking years?
Do you want Zach Martin?
Essentially.
Another Notre Dame guy.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
That's all we got for you today on this episode of M.O.M.S. Basement. Thank you for hanging out with us here on YouTube or iTunes. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button on the channel and leave that 5-star review on iTunes. And now, follow us on Twitter at Mom's Basement 18. Are we also on Instagram, Matt?
Yes, we are.
What are we on Instagram?
Oh, I have it right
Oh
here.
God, he's fucking up.
Oh, he's dropping.
I
Well,
have
our
it
individual
right here.
Twitters.
It's Moms_basement.
Moms_basement on Instagram. If you want to see, photos of Matt twirling his hair, check us out there.
That's not going to get anybody to come on the channel.
Follow me and Corey on Twitter at Joe_Frank01 and
Stop.
at Corey L Diablo.
Sick.
Diablo. If you're wondering how to spell his last name with the low on it. Just saying. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week.